heard that with us, by the way. No one heard that. Here we go.
I'm sorry. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's good. For those who don't know, it's Nolan week.
It is Nolan week.
Talking about Mr. Christopher Nolan.
Now, can I ask you guys a question? I'm just gonna hop in. Can you really just talk about Christopher Nolan and not talk about his wife and brother? Is there an integral part of his process?
No. Yeah, I think it's a part of it. Right. Yeah, I think it's a part of it.
Okay.
100%. It'd be like trying to talk about Joe Russo and not talk about Anthony Russo.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of people don't, though. So
I feel like Jonathan
we should.
doesn't get a lot of love.
Yeah, that's weird to me because like Jonathan has been like, I don't want to say the driving force, but like it's not insignificant.
Right.
He's written like half his brother's movies. So like
yeah, they're a solid team at this point. You can say that.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Christopher in the chat. Welcome, buddy.
What up, bro?
What's up, Captain Milk Monkey?
All right, so
the chat already?
Dude, fucking stream today was fucking hype. Fucking Christopher fucking subbed. What? And I was like, what's up, Captain Milk Monkey? And I completely just fucking botched it.
Dude, got quiet. Were you gonna say something?
He's been saying something this whole time. Can you not hear Sarge?
Can you not hear me?
No.
Yeah, he's talking.
Muted. My bad.
How dare you?
Asshole.
I don't even want to tell the story now. Fuck it.
All right. Well, let's just hop into Christopher Nolan. That's what we're here to talk about. I was listening to a Malcolm Gladwell interview today, and he said I forgot my point completely. Oh, there it goes. It's gone. All right. Who's next?
Balls.
Oh God, this is falling apart.
Did you know he was raised in London and Chicago?
Yeah. That's kind of a dope life, like, right? Like, coming up and you're just, like, going in between Chicago. Well, depending on what neighborhood in Chicago, but I'm sure his was fine. But Chicago and London.
For Nolan Tech?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. What if he was from the south side of Chicago? That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
92nd Street.
I got my point back.
Good, go.
There it is.
Okay.
Do it.
Malcolm Gladwell was talking about fucking... Why do I keep losing it? I keep getting it and losing it. I keep getting distracted. I do. I don't know what's going on. It's because I'm
talking about 10,000 hours. You're talking about.
He's talking about creativity and people making movies, and people like critics are always slamming people for making movies, and not dumbing it down, right? And it's too complicated, right? Or it's too much. And Malcolm Gladwell was saying how like people are actually really smart and really get can take these concepts. And I think when I saw that interview today, the first thing I thought was Nolan, because all of his movies are super like layered.
Yeah. Homie doesn't dumb shit down.
No, he doesn't dumb anything
literally
down.
The only time I think he's ever dumbed something down was Tenet. And he didn't really dumb down the movie. Just when the protagonist is learning for the first time what's happening, that scientist at that college is just like, don't think about it. Just, this is how it works. And I was like, cool, thanks, because I didn't need to be doing that. The rest of the movie is a fucking mind bender.
It is, but the movie, I don't know, it does hold your hand quite a bit.
It does, but also I like his style overall is a puzzle box. It's like a puzzle, right? And it's like we have to learn as we go, just like the characters do. And sure. I enjoy that form of storytelling. And then
Did you see that thing I wrote about Puzzle Box?
No, I didn't see it. No, I didn't. I see it now.
That's really weird. You just said Puzzle Box. So Captain Midnight, a really good YouTube channel, said it is puzzle box filmmaking. But he says, quote, not like J.J. Abrams style where answers are constantly held off from the audience. Sidebar, I hate that shit. Right? When, like,
when a movie's like, we know how this is going to work, but you
don't. It's just obvious that it just doesn't want to tell you. Anyway.
Yeah.
But in the style and where the audience is asked to sit through a lot of confusing sequences before everything is pulled together in a surprising and hopefully emotionally cathartic way.
Interstellar is that.
Yeah, dude.
The whole movie, you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's like, oh, shit.
So Ryan, Interstellar is about Earth dying, plants can't grow anymore. And Matthew McConaughey's got a chance to go find an Earth-like planet, but he knows that if he leaves, he's never going to be coming back. But before he leaves, his daughter is like talking to a ghost in his bedroom. who's like leaving messages and stuff like that. So about 3/4 through the movie, McConaughey gets sucked into a black hole, or actually kind of goes willingly, I think.
Yeah,
And he comes out in this weird, like, geographic kaleidoscope looking environment, and he starts to sift through these weird abstract lines, and he looks through the lines, and he's looking through the bookcase into his daughter's bedroom when she was 8 years old, and he starts pounding on the wall and knocking books off the wall, which is what she thought was a ghost.
You know what's funny?
So he's like talking to her in his past through this weird, it's amazing. So you're like, the whole time it's like, it was him, and he's screaming to himself. He was screaming to himself, "Don't leave, don't go." It's amazing,
but also damning humanity if he did that.
Right?
Yeah.
One thing that's hard to do, just listening to you, Ben, like paraphrase it. It's kind of hard to paraphrase his movies.
I thought that was
pretty
good. Wasn't that pretty good?
No,
though?
it is pretty good, but like there's
That's
a
only
lot
that one point.
There's a lot that you left out of that movie.
But
like an elevator pitch for a Nolan movie can only kind of give you one facet of this like diamond, right? You're sitting here trying to figure out like, how do I pitch this to people? You pick the thread to pitch, but no Nolan movie is a single thread. It's always a fucking tapestry that you're like, well, there's a lot of shit going on. Here's the thing I think that you would like about this movie, so come watch it.
So you guys have heard the terms logline and elevator pitch. Obviously, elevator pitch is give me a summary, right?
Mm-hmm.
You heard of logline? Logline is the one sentence breakdown of your story elements. And Caleb, the writer of Westworld,
Aaron Sorkin.
Sorkin says it's the protagonist, the inciting incident, the protagonist's goal, and then what's going to get in his way. It's those four elements, like what's going to stop them from achieving the goal. So anyway, so the logline for Tenet says, armed only with one word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world, a protagonist, uppercase P, journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time. So like loglines, I don't know, loglines are made to be mysterious and vague, but it's you can't summarize a Nolan movie in one sentence. It has to be a short paragraph.
Yeah, sure.
A theme.
Loglines are fascinating to me.
A theme in a lot of his movies is obsession. Like people are usually obsessed with something. I haven't seen Memento or Following. Obviously, Following is. I didn't even know Following existed until today.
Following's a weird movie.
You saw it?
No, but I've watched a lot of material these last couple weeks to make sure I could at least hang. But it was about a guy, a people watcher, who became more and more obsessed and started breaking into people's houses to follow them, to watch them. So he just it was like a drug to him. He couldn't get enough. So his obsession became worse to the point that he was breaking in. And it was black and white. It cost $6,000 to make.
Hell yeah!
So that was his first movie.
Yeah, people called it more of a instead of like a director's movie. They said it felt more like a college student movie.
Yeah. It was only like
69 minutes.
Yeah. It was really short. But that might have been his first movie. But yeah, nice. That might have been his first movie. But if you look at his filmography, there's a few things. There's a few things he did before that. So he's been working since '89. Shorts, writing,
since
directing.
'89?
Yeah.
What did he make in '89?
Something called
The reason I'm reacting like that is because he was fucking 19.
So, but he said in an interview, which I mentioned the London and Chicago thing, because if you listen to an interview, there's like an American and an English accent.
Their accents. I don't think Jonathan Nolan has an accent. I think he grew up more in Chicago. It's weird.
Okay, I was being pedantic. Everybody's got an accent. Anyway.
I mean, it doesn't have a British accent.
Okay. So, but he accredits like the movies he worked on before becoming a director as to why he is who he is as a director, right? Like Ben Affleck did all of those movies before he became a director, and then he did Argo and won Best Picture. So, like, a lot of people do that. Anyway, he did Tarantella, Larceny, Doodlebug, Following, and then Memento in that order. So he worked on stuff. Yeah, and there's probably stuff that's uncredited, but
of course.
Sure.
Interesting. You know what I didn't know? Side note, I didn't know Prestige came out after Batman Begins. I don't know why I didn't know that.
Shit, that cut out for me. You didn't what?
I didn't know that Prestige came after Batman Begins.
Oh
Yep.
wow, I didn't either.
For some reason, I have no idea why. I thought it was much earlier than that. Like it came much before that in his career. So that was
I
interesting.
think Prestige was like a project that he wanted to work on, and then started working with Christian Bale in Batman Begins, and went, "I have another thing that I need you to
Yeah.
do."
And
And
I
Michael Caine.
and I know just from hearing things, all during the years about Nolan, was that like when he negotiated Batman, he negotiated other films within it. So like I'll do this if you give me this, and that's kind of how Inception came about,
Mhm.
which I thought was
Inception after Dark Knight.
yeah.
Mhm.
Which by that point I was all the way in on Nolan. Like that was,
Sure.
I think The Dark Knight, Batman Begins. Obviously I saw it, but I didn't really like dive into who made it. But The Dark Knight, obviously, I became a super big fan by that point.
When did everybody become a big fan? When did Nolan go from nothing to a household name?
I think Batman Begins, honestly.
The Batman trilogy just kind of knocked it out of the
I would
park.
say Dark Knight.
But the Dark Knight was just the apex of it.
I think it's the combination of Prestige and Dark Knight.
Yeah, for
And-
me, I was gonna say it's like the Batman Begins was like, oh, this was a good take on Batman that like felt grounded. And then I saw the Prestige and went, I need to pay attention to this guy for the rest of my life.
But see, I don't think the average Joe was caring about the Prestige like that. I think
no,
the household
I
name
think you're
aspect
right.
was Batman Begins or Dark Knight, but one of the two.
Once Joker came into it, I think really fucked the game up.
Do you
I think
he
Batman
owes-
is why everybody knows him.
Yeah.
I think the Prestige is why he is making the movies he's making now. Like, I think the Prestige was the first time with a big cast full of stars that he was able to like have freedom and do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah.
And then the movie that resulted from that was what
But Memento
put him
set the pattern. Memento set his pattern for putting the answer
Sure.
at the end and
like
putting the end at the beginning. And
This dude's got patterns, don't he?
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, let's kind of jump in the shark a little bit, but I want to talk about the few notes I added before my daughter decided to have a fucking meltdown.
okay.
Ben listed in the questions for us, what are Nolan's trademarks? And I put two things. One, time travel, both literal and narrative. He almost doesn't have a movie that does not move around constantly.
Yeah.
Like even the Batman movies are like
It's very ADD.
maybe Dark Knight not as much. But like Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises are both jumping between like people's origins and what happened in the past. Memento is a fucking train wreck of that. Even, the Prestige moves back and forth and alters perspective a bunch. And then of course you've got Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Tenet that are just like about time. Literally they're like one of the characters in the films. And then the other thing that I think I didn't realize this until I was talking about this on the community podcast I do with my buddy Kevin, is that like it's kind of clear he's obsessed with family and like parents and the relationship between parents and their kids, and then between husbands and wives, and then like
say relationships. It's all
What?
relational. Like Memento had a love interest. Prestige was about family. Batman was a little bit about family, but it was more like surrogate, with Alfred, and then with Rachel. Inception was about a wife
and his kids.
No,
The whole movie's about him getting back to his kids.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
But his wife was like haunting his dreams, Dunkirk really wasn't, but
I
Tenet
mean, there's a
really wasn't
huge
either,
storyline. There's a huge storyline in Dunkirk that's about a dad and his son going and doing what's right, and his son learning along the way what's right. And Tenet is about the protagonist trying to help a woman save her son.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, large components anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
So an
You
inescapable
should do the
element.
Fast and Furious movies.
Oh yeah,
They're all
dude.
about
There's a lot
family.
there, dude.
So much family.
So James Wan, Christopher Nolan, about the same. Cool.
I almost threw up in my mouth.
I have a question. And maybe Ryan, you're probably the freshest, but the Batman series. across the whole Tenet Nolan verse. It's not a verse. Across the whole Nolan catalog, can he do hand-to-hand combat?
No, I know I'm not Sarge, but my
No, I just know Sarge.
My thing is no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Mm.
You don't watch these movies for hand-to-hand combat. If
There's
you do,
a lot of it, but there's a lot of it all around.
I mean, yeah, like Batman is very blocky and very
Well, yeah. How could Batman not have
Not-
hands, right?
not
But is he-
very
but is he
fluid.
good?
if you take
Yeah.
all right, if you take everything here, we have 7 hours of Batman from Nolan, and you put that against all the fight scenes from that, it won't even hold a candle to the fight scene in with Batman in the Batman vs Superman in the warehouse.
Yeah,
and that's not even even like groundbreaking fight choreography.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's not like they're still doing
it
takes.
just feels more like
It's just
Batman.
better.
I don't know why this popped into my head, but the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the fighting lizard in the hallways. Bad movie, amazing choreography.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Sure.
good movies. So, and then if you go back and watch Batman Begins, I think a lot of it holds up. I really like this movie. I like the theme. I like Batman and ninjas. Yeah, I'm sold. Right? Like, come on.
Yo, I've never liked
yeah.
Batman Begins, bro.
I know. Actually, you have, and then you haven't, and then you haven't again, or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a back and forth, man. It's
Yeah.
just not. I don't.
It's a decent origin story that's not kind of over the top.
There's really
like
nothing
you-
over the top about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty grounded. But that's how he wanted to do his Batman. Bank robberies, poison gas, like very tangible stuff. Bombs in a stadium. But anyway, if you go back and watch Begins, for whatever elements you might think holds up, the combat is not one of them.
Yeah.
No.
The camera's very like zoomed in and lots of fast cuts and a lot of just blurring, and you just can't see what's going on.
It's interesting
Which-
because in Dark Knight Rises, I do think you see like an evolution of his filming fight scenes in that like Bane fights well.
Yeah, Bane and Batman square off.
It got better because
It gets
the,
better.
the
It gets
Bane
better.
and Batman fight when he breaks his back was decent, and the
Yeah.
end in
But
front
you
of the
can still
courthouse.
see the
decent.
like charge up for like attacks. Like you can see like it's like real blocky movement sometimes.
But
Yeah.
Like from
I
both
think
of
the
them. it's
Bane
just
fight,
like-
the Bane fight on the Capitol steps, real good.
Yeah.
I love that fight, especially
think
when Bane
that-
starts getting mad and drops into boxing. Like that may
I
be
get-
Tom Hardy though. That may be Tom
Yeah.
Hardy.
I just think
Yeah.
he's
You know
not.
what I mean?
He's not good at fight scenes, but he can make it good with the dialogue that he puts into it. Because one thing that stands out in that Batman scene, Batman and Bane sewer scene, is the dialogue they're having in between it, which is kind of rare that you can get really strong dialogue in the middle of a fight. But he kind of pulled that off, and I think that's what makes the scenes better.
Yeah, very comic
You
book.
fight like a younger man.
Mhm.
So good.
Theatricality and deceptions, powerful agents against the uninitiated. But we are the initiated, aren't we, Bruce?
Bruce.
That's so good. That's so good.
So good. It's interesting that we bring up fighting because I think that like the Batman movies, they're not all of his work. They're definitely a huge part of his work, but like he doesn't really do it outside of Batman. And for what it's worth, the couple fight scenes in Tenet are
Ooh.
very good.
Yeah.
Especially when he's walking through the fucking back of the house of that restaurant
Yeah.
and beating the hell out of people
Restaurant
and,
scene's good,
and rips
then-
a cheese grater
and-
across a man's face.
Ben said
That's good,
something.
and then
Ben
him
said something
fighting
about
himself.
Inception was pretty good. Some of the fighting in Inception was really solid.
I think, by and large, Inception was. It's almost. I don't know. It's a great movie. I'm not gonna call it perfect, but there's not much wrong with it. But I think
The gun
reason,
works pretty good though.
Mhm. The
Like
reason,
catching the bullets, like as they're walking through in
Oh, yeah.
that beginning
Knocking
portion.
them- yeah.
Yeah.
I think the way Inception gets around his fighting problem is they put the entire stage on a rotisserie
Yeah.
and made them
Yeah.
fight a literal
It seems
rotating hall.
incredible.
Absolutely
yeah, it seems
insane.
Incredible.
And Tenet gets around a natural fight scene, which some of us super dorks want, by making him fight himself in reverse, so it's not going to look natural. But that's again another extreme feat
Oh,
of
that scene
filmmaking
fucked me
I
up, dude.
will never understand.
Nope, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Because
I don't
it doesn't
understand how
make
he did
because
it.
it doesn't make sense. None of it makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, but like it doesn't make sense in terms of logic, but it also like this was filmed on Earth with real people,
Yeah.
and like how the fuck are things moving backwards? And how did you make that work? And
See, I
like,
still feel that the
Mm.
backwards was a little bit not good. Like the backward fighting. Like I think we're just like, okay, it's backwards fighting, so you're excited about it. But I still feel like as I watched it the first time in theaters, that I didn't really appreciate it. Like I didn't think it was that
Sure.
great looking.
See, I watched if you watched a featurette or something, I've been looking, but I don't have the DVD or Blu-ray, so I can't like watch behind the scenes. But I was searching for like a how we did it.
Oh, I
hoping that Warner
do have
Brothers put a thing up.
I
And
do
like,
have it, but they dance backwards. Like he had to do it backwards.
so like the fight scene you see where he's going forward in time, fighting his reversed self, that most of that's him moving backwards.
Yeah, it's a choreography between two people. It's amazing, but
So
to
like
me,
the backwards fighting, that's the person he's fighting is actually moving forward, and they play it in reverse
Mhm.
because you're seeing him moving backwards, and then they do it. It's weird. So like the backwards stuff looking awkward, I get that. That makes sense, but it's the backwards stuff that we see is actually the stuff they did forward.
We're reaching an uncanny
no,
valley.
I don't think they did that, Caleb. I don't think what you're saying is true. I think like from what I saw, like they actually filmed it all in once, and that guy was acting like he was going backwards. Like it was more of a complicated choreography than it was technical reversal.
I don't know. There looked like some pretty physics defying stuff.
Well, they had strings on them and stuff, and they were pulling them. Like I have the bonus features. That's something that I'll have to check offline.
I mean, I'll concede. I don't know
Sure.
anything about it, but shit. Yeah. Anyway, what I want to say is
I'm not the
Uncanny
only
Valley.
one who had a forgetful moment. So go ahead.
I think Uncanny Valley, like, so there's things that are unnatural in movies, and the Hulk, when he's 8 feet tall and 1,200 pounds, is only going to look so real. It doesn't matter if it's photorealistic, Unreal Engine 5, sweat dripping down his face. It's only going to look so real. Some part of our brain's going to go, that's not real because it's not.
Because his pants never rip.
That's true, right? But like there's like a dragon's only going to look so real because our brain's going to go, that's not real. So I'm wondering how real movie cinema can actually look before our brain goes, that looks stupid because it is not real. You know, like because your brain won't let it look real.
As a moviegoer, we enter our minds into fantasy mode, and we allow ourselves to believe it's real. Otherwise, we watch a scary movie, we would come home and feel absolutely nothing, but we actually feel fear because we allow ourselves to feel fear.
We leave the lights on.
And we put Disney on while we go to sleep.
Hell yeah.
Because we actually do convince ourselves that it is possibly real. So I think it's something that we have so much control over.
To a degree. But when you watch the end of what's the Jake Gyllenhaal movie when the Earth freezes over? And they release those PS2 wolves at that one fighting scene where they look
Well, that's because it looks bad, Ben.
Yeah. So like we're not in such a fantasy world that we can forgive everything.
I cried when Captain America grabbed his hammer, grabbed Mjolnir. My mind still like, of course we know it's not real, but it's still like we have an emotional attachment to it. We can feel it, and I think we can allow ourselves the fantasy of it. I just think that we are smart enough to like not just Captain America like grab Mjolnir, get out of here. Like, come on, what we're talking about here?
But I'm
right?
wondering where the line is in visual effects. To when you said the fighting didn't look great in reverse, and other people said it does, and then some people say the dragons in Game of Thrones looked absolutely real, and somebody didn't. Like it's different maybe for everybody. Where's the line between something looking fake and not? Like you didn't like the backwards fighting.
No, I mean I didn't hate it. I just to me it looked a little bit choppy. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. It's not real.
But see, Nolan,
so it's never going to look real because it's unreal.
It would. I feel like a different director would have done, like Snyder would have done actual technical effects, and Nolan does not like to do effects. He likes to keep it fucking real as fuck. So like I brought it back to Nolan. So I think that's the reason why like he's very practical, which is dope. But like a Snyder would have definitely been like get the computer guys in here and let's have one going in actual reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like he would have green screen that shit and somehow. And Nolan's not doing that. He's keeping it straight up practical, except like Interstellar or even Inception. But like he will tell you that he tries to go practical as much as possible, which is respectable.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when people like to be assholes about green screen movies or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
I need to see this behind the scenes stuff for this scene.
Me too.
Because there's just stuff in here that can't be practical. I don't know. I mean,
no, they're obviously not. You can't have fire burn backwards. So there's obviously a lot of compositing.
No, that's not. I mean the choreography specifically.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of that movie is compositing. So it's not just people acting in reverse. Yeah.
All right.
Do his movies require multiple viewings?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't,
I
you
don't
don't get
think
it.
I don't think they all require them to be enjoyed, but I think that you definitely he's one of those directors that if you watch it a second time or third time, you'll get more from it.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet, you would not understand a movie just one viewing.
Probably not. No, probably not. Well,
No.
Interstellar's a little more on the nose. Like it delivers. It has an ending. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like he comes
Yeah.
back. His daughter's 80 years old. There's a space station based out of the like it's got a conclusion as to where
It hits
Inception
a pop up through someone's window on the top side.
Inception leaves you with a spinning top, and your conclusion
Listen,
is your
the
own.
moment you find out in Inception that the beat in the scene they're in the water planet is years in space, you're gonna have to want to watch it again.
Yeah, dude, that's one. Okay, so obviously, whether you've seen the movie or not, Ryan, you've probably seen at least a GIF of Matthew McConaughey, like because they memeified it, where he's falling, he's like crying in a chair because he's receiving 20 years of messages from his daughter. In
Probably.
like every year.
It's been like
He
fucking
leaves-
10 minutes for him.
God, it's incredible. But just before that, so space is temporal, right? They're really close to this black hole. So like the closer they get to the black hole, the more time gets fucked up. They go on this water planet, get stuck, take back off. It takes 7 minutes, but because of whatever happened, because it took like
It's
5 minutes
because
longer than
of-
it should,
Yeah.
or something. When they get back to the ship, the guy they just left 7 minutes ago has gray hair, and he says something like,
It's been
I thought you were
25
dead.
years.
It's so emotional, dude, and he's so
Yeah.
dead and tired and maybe losing his mind a little bit, but it's so incredible. I think it's almost as incredible as Matthew McConaughey's like breakdown scene. Like,
See, like
when you,
those concepts,
you don't know it's been 20 years, but when he opens the door, it says 20 years. My mind, it's
Dude.
like
dude, those concepts warrant the second viewing, right?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
those
yeah,
little
sure.
things, those very little things that he does, like he did that in I believe the Dark Knight, where like the timer is actually the time. I love when directors do shit like that, where like
Yeah.
time is actually passing, like completely accurate to what we're seeing in the film.
You want to know something funny, Tech?
Yes, sir.
Almost every movie I watch, when someone goes underwater and holds their breath, I do it too. And
You
when
hold
it's
your
been
breath?
and when it's been 2 minutes and they're fucking swimming like crazy and doing shit, I'm like, no.
Mhm.
This ain't real. This ain't real at all.
Well, Kim and I were just watching Army of the Dead, and that last 7 minutes they had before the nuke shows up, and hadn't even rescued the daughter yet. Yeah, it took that 7 minutes took 20 minutes.
They did all kinds of shit in that 7 minutes. I was tripping off that the first
Yeah.
time I saw that movie.
Yeah.
He was doing all kinds of shit.
Do you
Did
know
you
what
know
moment
the,
emotionally impacted me in Inception even more than dude being on a ship alone for 25 years or McConaughey watching his daughter grow up is when they show up on that planet and Matt Damon reacts to seeing people for the first time.
Oh,
And his name
God.
was
And
Man.
his name's Man and Evil is yeah.
yeah.
But when he reacts to seeing people and just fucking shatters and
Yeah.
hugs people, ooh,
So
Ooh.
good.
it's so fucking good, dude.
He was batshit crazy. That was a really fun role because at the time no one knew Matt Damon was going to be in the movie. They didn't
Yeah.
credit him at all. So I mean, of course, I think I saw it
That's
opening
his
weekend.
new thing. Because he
Yeah.
popped up in Ragnarok and nobody knew that shit was going to happen either.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
great.
that was pretty fun.
Yeah, I think the Prestige's only reveal was the end. Ryan, in synopsis, these two magicians are battling for the greatest trick ever, and you
don't-
find out.
Yeah, don't ruin it. I think it's one that he should see.
Ryan
Yeah,
needs to watch. Ryan needs to watch.
But you
this
know,
movie
here's the
and
problem- here's my
experience
problem.
I have to watch everything that's on this list because I mean, I honestly, I mean, I've seen the Dark Knight movies and Inception, but like the rest of the stuff, it never appealed to me.
I think you would like
off
Interstellar.
the cuff.
I think you would like Interstellar.
Now
Yeah,
that you're a
right.
parent, you would absolutely love Interstellar.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
also
you have
not
to be a
like
parent to
I'm,
like
I'm also
Interstellar.
not a huge movie guy, honestly. Like I watch
Really?
the Marvel shit just because it appeals to me. But like if it's not something in that wheelhouse of like superheroes or like funny shit, like I'm just like nah.
You know,
I need to be more fucking open. So
Can I just tell him the end of Prestige then?
No! You know,
Okay.
you're probably the asshole, no offense, who told me the ending of Prestige, which I already like kind of ruined it when I did watch it. So like
That
It's
doesn't
one of
sound
those-
like something I would do.
it's not it's one of those movies that people like don't mind ruining, but they probably should because it's actually a really good movie.
Mhm.
He also ruined Mandalorian for me. He said Boba Fett was going to be in it, and I
Did he
fucking
really?
read that before I saw it. I was like, motherfucker.
Okay, it was technology's fault because I was talking in the spoiler channel, and Homeboy had spoiler notifications on, so he's just getting live spoiler chat sent to his phone.
But you didn't put the spoiler bars on it, you asshole.
Well, maybe you shouldn't subscribe to the spoiler channel.
Also, like a movie in 2006 is kind of like fair play. Like you can't it's like how does the Bible end? Like how's something like you kind of have to.
The MacGuffin in Prestige is absolutely incredible. It's like we said earlier. I think that and Dark Knight is what put him on the map for different people.
I think
different types of moviegoers.
I think we've gone enough about talking about the good in Nolan. Let's talk about the bad in Nolan. Now, me and Ben have a friend who swears that Christopher Nolan hates women. We've argued this.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can see his point. The unnamed friend.
The woman is the villain in at least 7 of these. Like
7?
Carrie-Anne Moss is the antagonist in Memento. Not 7, but Talia al Ghul is the villain in Dark Knight Rises.
She's also the same actress who was the villain in Inception.
Yeah, it's his girlfriend, haunts him in his dreams in Inception.
Fuck shit up.
The woman sends us to go after, it convinces the entire crew to go after Dr. Mann because she's in love with them. Curtails the whole mission because of course Dr. Mann is the one that actually turns on everybody.
Yeah, she's not the bad guy.
But it was
I mean,
she did enough of a shitty job to make us be like, damn you. You know what I mean? To make us distrust her, to make her think less of her, or something like that.
He killed the love interest in Batman.
That's right.
Killed the shit out of her in Batman, in Dark Knight.
And then I mean, this isn't a big flaw of Tenet or anything, but there's that I hate to misidentify the woman. I think she was Indian. The Indian woman that he confided in turned on him as well. There was a long spree between Talia. I thought she did.
Yeah, she did turn on him, but he turned it back. He flipped it back on her. Yeah. It was the whole thing. But
it's a power play.
Does he have a strong female lead in any of these movies?
That's true.
Because Catwoman ends up being Bruce Wayne's girlfriend, in the south of France or some shit. So is there a strong female lead problem with Nolan? Does he hate women?
I don't think he hates women.
Elliot Page.
I think that's fucking absurd.
I don't know if we should mention Elliot Page, but he was Ellen Page when Interstellar or Inception was filmed, and I guess I should say he was fantastic when they made that movie. So, pretty good supporting.
Wildly underfleshed character, though.
I think Ariadne's great, but I also think that Ariadne doesn't get. Ariadne's kind of left out of everything. But everyone's left out of everything in that movie.
Here's a flaw. He is extremely linear, in that it's not linear, but marching. It's just go, right?
Yeah,
Which
sure.
is fine, but it leaves characters underwritten. I think Talia was underwritten, and thus I think Bane was a little underwritten because Bane was about flipping society, and then that was stolen from him when you found out Talia was in charge, and it's just about blowing up a bomb.
Yeah.
But society rising up against the rich, the whole 99% argument of Dark Knight Rises is gone now.
Yeah, it was completely void because he
falls flat.
Yeah, such a great motivation for a villain, or for a whole city of the poor uprising and trying to fight the eat the rich, and then it's just he just has a grudge. I mean, she has a grudge and he's her flunky.
Yeah,
kind of a waste of plot.
I never took Dark Knight Rises as the poor rising up against the rich.
That's literally what they talk about the entire movie.
That's all Bane was doing.
Hold on, I know that's what Bane's doing, but we don't actually see the people of Gotham fighting the rich, really. You see some people robbing rich people.
They were ransacking their mansions.
Sure, that's a very small moment in that movie. The rest of it is about all of the freed prisoners taking on the criminal justice system. There's a huge fucking conflict between people in orange jumpsuits holding bats and sticks and canes trying to beat the shit out of the cops. The climax of that movie is about the freed prison and the police.
That's a citizen uprising. That whole plot gets squashed by a bomb. You know,
Yeah, well,
A storm is
yeah.
coming is
Yeah.
literally the
Right.
foreshadowing of the poor people are going to turn over to the
I
are
would
going to
class-
fuck over the richy people.
I would clarify those prisoners were probably the poor, and the cops were upholding the system. And his whole
Yeah,
goal
sure.
was to upend the system, and then
What
up
guys
no
were talking
wrong.
about flaws. All I'm saying is I don't think he adequately illustrated a conflict between the poor and the rich. It
I-
felt more like a conflict between prisoners and cops.
No,
to
I,
me-
I-
No.
yeah, I feel like he
I
was heading in one direction, and regardless of which
Well,
direction
that's
you
my
think that
point.
was, we feel like it was classism, and you don't. But
I
still.
didn't say it wasn't classism because I do think that like you could make the argument that the prisoners are the lower class fighting against the rich,
Yeah.
but they don't fight against. Like I don't think he does a good job of illustrating that point because they don't go and fight against the rich; they go and
Yeah.
fight against the cops, which is an authoritarian
suppose.
system.
There's a lot of symbolism. there that
I'm
you're-
trying to agree with y'all that he doesn't do a good
Yeah.
job of illustrating it.
Yeah, there's still a lot more symbolism in there that you're forgetting because
I
he
think so,
does
too.
he does a bit of teeing. He does set it up quite a bit. And
No, I mean, the setup I think is great. I'm not
Okay.
missing. I'm not like Bane going into the stock market and being
Yeah.
taking it over, and the guy being like, "There's no money here," and he's like, "Then why are you people here?" Like that. I get all of that shit. I think it takes a weird turn in the climax, and isn't really indicative of what the rest of the film's building up to.
Where the prison industrial complex preys on the poor, hence your battle. And I think that's kind of
Sure,
a part of what he was saying all the way through. Except
Sure.
it fell flat because the plot wasn't even about that. It was just about blowing up Gotham, which was kind of a
Yeah.
dud of a story.
it felt like the bomb thing felt like what Liam Neeson didn't get to finish, and
perhaps.
that felt good to me because he's Liam Neeson's daughter.
Yeah, it's League of Shadows shit.
So
Yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
underwritten characters in Inception as well. It's mostly
Fucking Robin was trash. Joseph
In
Gordon-Levitt, no, in Dark Knight Rises, like his character was actually not what's up.
being called Robin is really dumb.
if
was
he hadn't
really
been called
dumb.
Robin, would people have cared as much about? Like, would you think
Yeah,
that he was a
'cause all
dumb
the
character
setup-
if he hadn't been called Robin?
I don't know. I was into the setup, but then being called Robin is pretty dumb. That's pretty ham-fisted. But
Like, actually having a name.
yeah,
I like your real name.
My name's Robin. Robin's
like,
sidekick.
That was kind of dumb to me.
But like the fucking setup was garbage, dude. Like, why would you do this and then have him go into the fucking cave system and everything, and then like, I ain't gonna make another movie? Like, fucking
Because
asshole,
someone's
dude.
got to carry on Batman's work.
I
He
like the
changed the
setup.
city permanently.
I like the setup. I liked him rappelling into the cave and stuff. I thought that was really cool. Is the Two-Face character tacked on? And is it even necessary?
It was not
So-
necessary.
I think it's necessary.
So
Cool.
here's the biggest
Fight.
argument I have about Nolan movies is that in a lot of cases, I think they're all a little bit too long. But I also stand by the belief that if I go back through the movie and try to find the part I would take out, I cannot find it. I think Dark Knight
Is he
runs a
trying to
little
do
long.
some 5-act shit? Is that why?
Maybe. I think Dark Knight runs a little long, but that end scene with Harvey Dent is incredible. So I could not remove it. And it's a really big inflection point for like Batman and where the next movie picks up. And like Batman's journey up until this point,
Well,
where
it's
he's trying to be the
Batman's-
good guy the whole time.
It's Batman's
And-
sacrifice of his image, right?
But I don't
Right.
understand the motivation of Batman to, if he's so thoroughly motivated to fight crime and do all this, that he would sacrifice that for Harvey Dent. Like, I didn't feel like that connection was strong enough.
I think he felt Harvey Dent was doing a better job than he was.
I get that.
I also don't think he sacrificed it so much for Harvey Dent as much as he did for what Harvey Dent did. Like Harvey Dent put away a lot of really bad people using legal, procedures, and to find out later that like he was not perfect and all of his work being overturned makes Gotham a far worse place. So like the decision that he makes at the end of that movie is not, I think,
Yeah,
a
but-
completely altruistic decision because like
If a public official does a crime, that doesn't mean that everyone he locked up gets let free. That's not how justice system
Well,
works.
I'm also
So, like,
misrepresenting the end of that movie specifically, but that is the point that's being made.
I hear
Is
you.
that like if everybody discovers who he was, they'll lose hope, and Batman's like that can't happen.
But he's the hope. Batman's the hope. I guess. I hear you. But I still
Batman's
feel like
Batman's kind of not hope.
to the older people he was, like to the older, like to the older cop, like he was all about Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sure if I just didn't feel that connection. Like I don't feel like he loved him. Like he loved Will Harvey represented that much that he would throw away being Batman, which he did. He 100% did.
Also saying that he he stuck out more to the older cop kind of sounds shitty too, because the older cop's basically like, I really wish we could just beat the shit out of people too, like we used to.
Right.
Instead of like the new guy, like the younger guys are like, he's a really bad guy. We should do things the right way, and like trying to capture Batman. He's like, don't do that. Like, I don't know. It's kind of
that was my takeaway. Is that like Batman is the embodiment of police brutality? Like he's not hope.
Yeah.
He's the Dark Knight. He's the devil that flies around the city looking like a demon. Like, and he beats the shit out of people.
You'll ever see that meme about his face being open so you can see his white privilege?
Or go down on Catwoman.
Oh God! Yeah.
Oh hey, I hope the Batman shows that. I hope, because we've been talking about it's kind of in the zeitgeist in the last 10 years, 20 years that Batman's kind of a prick, and he breaks people's backs and throws them off in an alley and goes, "Don't be a bad guy," and then walks away and he's like, "I can't feel my legs." So like, what? Like, can we have the new Batman be like the villain? The villain.
I think Nolan. I think Nolan single-handedly. I think
so before we move into the next part, because I didn't get to answer my thing about Two-Face, but I wanted to say about that the thing about Two-Face in that movie, he made Joker better, like a better antagonist inside that movie, because it gave a huge pawn that Joker was able to manipulate with that just made him so much like a badder character. Like Joker was on fucking point without that. So to have him take Two-Face and throw him into the fucking fire and do all that stuff with was incredible. And the other thing, that's like the only Two-Face is the only other character that doesn't have like supernatural abilities, and that's what Nolan was definitely not about, was the supernatural shit. That's why he didn't want to do Mr. Freeze or Poison Ivy or fucking Bane with fucking ooze in his back.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to do everything all natural, and that's one reason why he stopped making movies, because he didn't believe in the unnatural stuff. So
no other Batman
name one more. What, the Penguin? We gonna put him in there?
No,
like, no.
But Christopher Nolan could have made an incredible Batman heist movie with the Riddler in it.
He could have, yes. Yeah, the Riddler would have been the only other one. Yeah,
and I wish Scarecrow was a main villain in the way that main villains are main villains. He just kind of sits around for a movie, gets locked up at the beginning of the second movie, and then is like the crown king of the anarchist society in the third movie. But like his role diminishes, and I think Cillian Murphy deserved better. Cillian Murphy actually auditioned for Batman first.
Oh wow, that's
to Christopher Nolan. Yeah,
that's strange. Yes, it is.
I mean, he's built like Robert Pattinson, so.
Yeah. Tech, you remember what you were going to say?
No, I lost it completely.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't talk
like Christopher Nolan movies. Our memory is foggy. This whole podcast.
Yeah, lots of no short-term memory. Like Memento. Yeah. He had this really cool quote. Since I'll fill the dead air, he says, "I thought this was really cool for people, for creatives." He says, "I think it's really important sticking to your guns, doing something you passionately believe in, rather than trying to appeal to some desire that you imagine other people have for what they want to see in a film. That you have to be true to your passion and your own sense of what excites you as a storyteller." So, and so much about the Marvel movies and a lot of movies are about just giving like fan service or, giving people what they want. Sure. Fast and Furious and all that stuff. And
I kind of remember. I remember my point now. I was going to say, Nolan kind of single-handedly changed the trajectory of a lot of superhero movies. Not so much the MCU, because MCU kind of stuck to their guns, but the whole DC basically based like their dark, kind of realistic, almost not super realistic, but like what would the normal world Superman be like, right? Like, yeah. I think they kind of took that page from Nolan's Batman trilogy. And I don't think we would have had the DCEU as we have it now if it wasn't for that. And definitely when it got the Joker movie. The Joker movie is literally a baby of 100%. Nolan.
Yeah. I think you could say easily the whole DCEU is a baby of Nolan because he's been executive producing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wrote Man of Steel and then produced it and then was the executive producer for Batman vs. Superman and Justice League and Snyder's cut of Justice League. So like Nolan's been deeply invested in these characters in this universe like since Batman. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The DCEU is Nolan's thing, in a way, not 100%, but in a way, for sure, for sure.
How awful is Batman's voice, though?
Well,
it's bad.
One of the big complaints about Nolan is that the way he mixes audio, not him particularly, but in his movies, they're hard to hear characters. I felt like Bane was unlistenable at first. Like I don't know if you guys remember. But they had to go back and change his voice because they screen tested it and everyone was like, we didn't hear a word he said. I think Dunkirk was probably his best audio movie. But I definitely can. What? Yep. I definitely can.
Won an Oscar for audio.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Which I've only seen it once in theaters. I need to watch it again for sure. But yeah, Batman was plagued with bad audio and bad vocal performances.
I think I learned about it. I mean, I've known about it for a while. I actually remember the first trailer with Bane in it. And I was like, what? And then he went in and did a bunch of post-process effects and stuff like that. And then so somebody said it again about Tenet. And so I was watching it the whole time. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, we watched with subtitles in the house. We have a hearing impaired person in the house, so we kind of have to. Yeah. So I even get subtitles for things you're not even supposed to hear, like a character in the background at a diner. You're like that's background noise. Don't subtitle that, stupid. So so there's scenes in Tenet where it's supposed to be hard to understand them. They're like in a generator room, or like there's a lot of noise, and there's even one where the dialogue like actually falls off, like they drop the volume on it. So I think that's one of his things is to make you feel like you're in the scene, like they're supposed to be hard to hear. Like if you ever been I've never been in a helicopter, but they're loud as fuck. If you can hear somebody clearly speak in a helicopter in a movie, that's not what Nolan would do.
Then don't have the scene in that room.
Do what?
I said cue up any rock movie. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But that doesn't make any sense. Like we're watching a movie for a plot. Like we don't need to not be able to hear the people. Like unless that's
part of the plot, right? You can make it part of the plot that they're talking in a place that's hard to hear, and therefore it should be hard for you to hear it too.
No, I'm just a listener there. You can have it in a generator room, but those two can probably hear each other. So why make it to where I can't hear them?
I mean, for some reason,
I'm just watching a movie.
For some reason, that scene in Tenet really fucking worked for me because none of the information that they share in that scene was important. And so the sound taking over and the score rising felt more like things are moving, this is going to happen. And like, I don't know, all 3 times I've watched Tenet, like I keep in the reason to dislike not being able to hear people several times. And every time it happens and I'm kind of like, what? I'm like, yeah, no, that works though.
I think the reason it works is because he has so much exposition that you can throw some away.
For sure.
Especially Tenet.
Tenet.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just talking at you the whole time.
Yeah, he's a little exposition heavy in my book.
Oh wow, yeah, they kind of except for Dunkirk. Dunkirk's a very quiet movie.
It is.
But every other, like Inception, is front loaded. Like the first 40 minutes of Inception is like, here's the pitch, and then it's a roller coaster. The last, whatever. But Inception is extremely front heavy.
Yeah, it's also, I think he has that problem with his heist style movies. I think that the specific scenes where it's like there's a lot of talking that went before this is the heisty part of Tenet, and like Inception is a heist movie, and I would challenge y'all to go watch like Ocean's 11, 12, and 13, the first half of all three of those movies. And Soderbergh's great at writing and directing heist movies. The first half of all three of those movies is just, here's how we're going to do it, and we got to do this, and we got to do this. It's just constant telling you what's going to happen, and then that lets the last half just show you. Which I would argue the last half of Inception, they don't really talk about shit. Things just happen the whole time, and it's a spectacle. So, maybe that's just how heist movies work.
But don't you feel like Interstellar had a lot of fucking exposition too?
I accepted that because it was way above my head in terms of scientific reality. Like, there's a whole issue of Wired magazine where they took scientists and physicists and quantum physicists and astrologists and astronomers and like had them look at that movie, and like there's like 12 thesis statements throughout that issue of Wired, and it's basically all of these people who are professionals in this field being like, yeah, that's how that would work. As far as we can measure and as far as we can tell, that's as close to accurate as you're gonna get. And so like after reading that and watching that movie again, when they're like, this is how this works, I'm like, cool. Fuck, no one else would know this. Right?
But still, I hear you. You're talking about the technical aspects of what they're talking about. That's fine. I'm talking about more of like the actual story and the build up and the blight they portrayed. I felt like it just went on for a bit too long, and I did not. I felt like his running into the facility was chance, and it shouldn't have been. Right? Like I thought that was a weird plot hole.
Well, he runs into the facility because he gets the coordinates that he dropped for himself in Morse code that Murph gives to him.
Okay.
That's why he goes there.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so forgive me.
Yeah. No, you're good. I watched a 30-minute thing about his editing in that movie like last week. So I remember that a little more clearly just because of that. Yeah, almost everything he does in that movie is because he told himself to do it or told Murph to tell him to do it.
That's an easy writing out.
Yeah, that's time travel, dude. You can't watch a time travel movie and be like, boy, they didn't solve all their problems by saying, I told my past self to do this.
Speaking of time travel, I don't like how if everything's fate, like I'm not going to go into details, but I'm watching a Disney Plus series. If everything's already written, then how is this not already written and they already know what's going to happen? I always find that being weird to me.
That's one cool thing I liked about Tenet is she carried that phone around with her or something like that, or recorder. A recorder says, if you want me to know about it, record it, so that it's in like history. So like he's in the future waiting to read what she's putting into the present.
Yep.
Really cool.
I specifically think I like time travel for those reasons.
Really? Well, that would just prove that it is fate, right?
Or no. How would it disprove?
I mean, what's the whole point of changing it if it's going to be the way it is, regardless?
Depends if it's on the sacred timeline or not.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's changing it so much as he's saying, like he does that when he's not inverted, right? He says, "Do this," so that like later, when he goes inverted, she will have done it. He doesn't invert and go, "Do this," so that I can discover it in the regular timeline. He tells her to do it now, so that later when he goes back, it can be for sure it happened, which isn't traveling back in time and changing the future. It's just saying something today so you make sure it happens tomorrow, so that when you come back to tomorrow, 3 years from now, that's happened.
There's a Rick and Morty episode in which Rick is talking about Inception and how much it doesn't make sense to everyone, and everyone just acts like it makes sense. And I do kind of feel that way about Tenet. Like, it doesn't make sense, but everyone acts like it's amazing, a great.
I'm pretty sure
concept.
Grandpa Rick was making fun of people for calling it deep. I think, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he was saying it's not deep; it just doesn't make sense. But like the going inverted in time, I have so many questions about that. I have so many questions about how do you invert something? When you go back in time, do you have to live your life? Like, how do you go back to the future? Like, are you going to the future, or you just like?
Well, you can't go to the future in the Tenet's universe.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what happens when you interact with yourself, but it is said several times, do not make eye contact, like interact with yourself. Don't come into physical contact with yourself because
all right. So Shorty,
he doesn't touch his skin. There's no skin to skin contact because they're both in full sleeves. They literally say don't make physical contact with your skin because your cells will fucking implode.
Okay, so help me understand, guys. All right, so you go backwards in time, right? And you get out on the other side and you're moving backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go back through it and you're moving forward, but you're still a week ago.
It's so if the timeline's going this way, the second you go through that carousel, you're consistently going that way. The longer you stay out, you're going to be going backwards. So if you never turn around, you're in a straight line backward.
You're going backwards to time.
Yeah.
Then how do you get back forward? Because Shorty killed her husband, right? And she saw herself jump off the thing.
Yeah.
How did she get back to the present? How did she get back to her fucking kid?
That's a good question. I don't know.
So
I don't remember.
the process of uninverting yourself drops you back into present time.
So you can go forward in time.
No, it drops you into present time. So like if you go backwards and then you come out.
How do you come
going
out?
Forward
that in the movie.
Then you are existing at the same time as another version of yourself going forward.
So you're creating multiple copies of yourself. Because
that's why
they went back a week.
That's why Robert Pattinson. That's why Robert Pattinson dies in that last scene and is also standing there because he went back and was inverted and then re-forwarded himself in the middle of it to try and help them out.
Yeah,
man.
Like
that
there's
reveal
nothing...
makes sense. So now he's existing in the past now, right? Like he went back through time and he hopped out, went back forward, and now he's helping everybody, right? But he's in the present. He's in the past, considered to his normal timeline. Well, how does Shorty go from back? You know, like she goes back to kill her husband on the boat, and then how does she get back to her son in the future?
I don't remember.
Well, time just so
she exists. There's two of her now.
Maybe
there's two of her until she inverts herself to go back.
Yeah.
So
and you're never around her throughout the entire the movie when she talks about seeing the woman jump off the boat, right? That woman is never seen again. She keeps her distance from the events of those things because that's her from the future who's gone back and done a thing and then knows to stay away from her. But also she wouldn't interact with herself because immediately after those events, the events of the movie take place. I
get that. But where does she go? Like
anywhere.
She just exists in the world now?
Yeah. The movie just chose not to show it.
Okay, and eventually there will not be two of her in the future because the other version of her will invert herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that one will go back and the other one will keep going.
Yeah, they do a really good job in Tenet of like sticking to the there's rules about time travel, but the tenets of time travel where like you can't travel back in time and change anything because like you've already experienced it. And like the several times we see the protagonist go back to like figure out where something is, he's not changing where it is, he's just figuring out where it is. And so like that time he goes back in time and they're on the highway, the dude that flips in the car next to them when they're going forward is him.
Yeah.
He didn't go back and change that. He went back and is the reason that happened.
To do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that guy can never go into the future because there's two of them. I just don't understand I always don't understand how they get back to the.
So it's if you drew two lines next to each other or one line next to each other.
We honestly can stop explaining it.
He hits the inversion chamber, it goes backwards, and then when he comes back out, yes, there's two of him, but the other version of him that's not the one that just came out is the one that's going to eventually go into the inversion chamber and come out. So eventually, after the date that the dude goes into the inversion chamber, there will no longer be two of them.
Just say it doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Because it doesn't make sense,
I'm also
bro.
weirdly.
It doesn't make sense, bro. Like what you're saying still doesn't make sense. Like because eventually this is gonna keep looping.
Also, it's not real.
One doesn't disappear. It is real.
No, one doesn't have to disappear.
They never do. It never will.
No, because the one
Tex hung up on the fact that if you create an additional one, why will there not always be two?
You're never creating an additional one.
Dude, she saw the girl jump off the boat, and it was her.
That's not another her. That is another her. No, it's her later. She sees that.
Sarge,
she sees that and then goes forward in time and then goes backwards in time and then goes forward in time again. She doesn't create a copy of herself.
Sarge?
Her timeline just overlaps on top of itself for a second.
Sarge?
What's up?
What do you think?
I'm so mad. I'm upset. I will also admit I'm a huge fucking nerd for time travel storylines.
Really?
I go after them as soon as I find out they exist. I love time travel.
I
Let's
saw
use,
Hot Tub Time Machine too. I get it.
Yeah, Back to the Future. Best movie.
What? I don't like.
If let's use Milk Monkey's question as our closer.
Wait, how did you did?
That's what I was explaining earlier when you couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Visionary or overhyped?
And the reason he put that is because I put that in the tonight's topic.
Sure.
Because I was just, I don't know, creating a point of contention.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's a visionary.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oof.
I don't know if visionary is the right word for me, but he's definitely an auteur.
What is a visionary director? Well, which is a who?
I think technically,
George Lucas.
you have to give Nolan visionary status, right? But there is a tinge of overhypeness about him. Like, people kind of feel like he can do no wrong at this point, and that's totally not true.
That seems kind of hypocritical, isn't it?
No, not really, because like, okay, he is visionary. He has vision. Like Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet are completely visionary, and The Prestige to an extent. Batman Begins is just a fun way of telling a story.
There's no other war movie like Dunkirk. It's pretty fucking unique.
Yeah, so I think those are visionary, but also there's things in there that's not so visionary.
Also, Memento is a one of a kind movie as well.
I've never seen
Also,
Memento.
are we defining a visionary as someone who's perfect or who does things no one else can do?
I think that means visionary. I think that means doing something that nobody's done before. Yeah.
But not perfect. So you can be a visionary and still make movies that aren't great.
Yeah.
But you do make
movies. Sorry guys, Michael Bay's visionary. Sorry, he created a whole fucking genre. Michael Bay's a visionary. He's done shit nobody's done before. So, you know what I mean? And he kind of sucks.
Ridley Scott's a visionary.
Yeah.
But he can't make a good alien movie anymore. And he made Exodus, Gods and Kings, which was about Egyptians, and he cast Christian Bale and Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
In Egypt.
Right.
Not Taron Egerton.
Spielberg, Kubrick, Hitchcock, Lucas.
Look at the same list. Lucas, I think Lucas for sure.
But
like Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Spike Lee.
Fuck
yeah.
I
think that,
Coogler.
Not Antoine.
We're not answering this question though. Yeah. We're just
putting out the examples overhyped because I just heard Caleb explain something that didn't make sense for 10 minutes. I think there's a relationship with Nolan mentally, and I think he's over. His concepts are overhyped because basically, to me, they don't make sense.
I think I understood what Caleb was talking about it, and I haven't seen the movie, but
you have to see the movie because it doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. It's great, but it doesn't make sense, and that's where I think it's overhyped at.
If you can watch Rick and Morty and have fun, you should be able to watch Tenet and have fun. And
I own Tenet,
and it makes enough sense for you to enjoy it and call this man a goddamn visionary.
Listen. I risked it all. Okay, I risked coronavirus to go see Tenet in the movie theaters. Okay, I'm all about.
Wait, fucker, you got it. You got coronavirus.
Well, I had it before I went to the movie theaters. That's why I went.
Okay. Right.
He said, "Wait, fucker, you got it."
I had it, and I was just saying I think it's a bit of both, right? I think it's visionary because the concepts are abstract, but I think people explaining shit that doesn't make sense. No, you don't. The world is very fluid. I do not have to do anything.
Here comes a joke. Maybe your taste is skewed because you got coronavirus. Oh,
okay, that's a good joke. That's a good joke.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think that you can be a visionary and still have flaws.
Yeah.
And you can be a visionary and still be overhyped.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
But so you think? Okay, so you do think he's contributed enough to
Fast and Furious
to film that he's a visionary, but also overhyped.
I think his
That's
concepts.
weird. That's fucking weird to me.
I don't think it's weird.
Tech,
Fuck
do you
you.
get?
How about that?
Do you Tech? Do you believe in hype? Tech, do you believe in hype anymore?
Do I believe in hype? Yeah.
Because
He's hyped
you don't
every day
for
of his
game.
life.
You don't for games.
What do you mean
At
I
all.
don't for games? Get hype for games?
Yeah, literally
don't.
the entire
I
time
don't.
Cyberpunk was coming out, you were like, it's hype stupid.
It's
The
too much
whole
hype.
time.
That
It's too much
that
hype.
was stupid. That was too much
The
hype.
Cyberpunk hype was off.
It was too much hype.
Off the scale.
But like, do you get hype for what do you get hype for in terms of like entertainment that's made by other people, not just like
MCU.
yeah.
I stay up every Tuesday morning till 2:00 to watch Loki. I've done that for every MCU show. What else is there?
Do you think WandaVision got overhyped?
No, it got underhyped. Like people didn't understand it. Like they don't understand the first 2 episodes of fucking writing genius.
But didn't we talk about how like the last 3 episodes not paying off? Everybody's wild conjectures. Was everybody overhyping it
Like everyone
and
like
expecting things out of it, thinking that we were going to get Mephisto and we were going to see Magneto?
no, I just think that's a
this
fun
was-
thing that people play with. I don't think it's overhyped. I think people were like, I think near the end people got more on
Anybody-
board because it was dumb enough for them to.
Okay, so I
people
guess
disappointed because the hype got them anticipating something that didn't.
I think you got disappointed, Ben, because you got tired of the constant. What about this? Or do you see that M written on the wall in small letters? Like, I think you got frustrated with all the over speculation, which could be considered overhyped.
Yeah, I always want the MCU to go more grand than they do, and they have to play the long game.
Oh yeah, they're
They got
doing
the
it.
next 20 years planned.
Dude, they're doing they're doing it with Loki. I have a theory right now that's going to disappoint everyone when they're done with Loki.
do you like killing hype?
No, I love hype, dude. I get hyped all the time, dude. I get hyped for Funko Pops, bro. Like
Do you like hype in small, bite-sized doses?
no, just like realistically, bro. Like, all right,
realistic hype.
Listen.
that's a .com. Go buy that shit.
Realistichype.org.
Here's why I say he's overhyped, because I've
your
seen
hype.
Tenet multiple times and I still don't think it makes sense, but Caleb swears it does. And I think that's only it's a hype beast type thing going on there. That's it. I think that's
I
the
can
hype
draw.
that allows
I
you
can
that.
draw on a piece of paper why this movie makes sense to me, though. It's not because I
Doesn't
think
make
he's
sense to anybody. Okay, I was messing with you now. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Caleb's like,
Caleb's
I,
like,
I won't engage if you don't want me to at all.
I do. Just I don't know.
But like I'm saying, like I could draw this out on paper because it makes sense to me, and like it's not because I think he's ineffable at all. But like at the same time, I think everybody, maybe not Ryan, because he's already admitted he's not that much of a movie guy, so he's excused. But I think of the other 3 of us, the next Christopher Nolan movie that gets announced, we're all gonna go watch it without a second thought, and that's the scent of a visionary, of somebody who, no matter what they do, you're sold. You have to be convinced not to go see it before you have to be convinced that it's worth seeing. That's a visionary. Someone who says, "I'm
James
making
Gunn.
this," and you go, "Dope."
James Gunn.
Sure, James Gunn.
I will.
It used to be Quentin Tarantino for me, and then I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it felt extremely masturbatory, and I didn't like it at all. I should watch it again to see if my opinion changes.
Edgar
After
Wright.
watching it in the theater, I was like,
Edgar Wright.
Was that so I just Googled does Tenet make sense, and there's 1,000 pages about it doesn't make sense. But go ahead, go off.
"You've ever heard of confirmation bias?" Ted?
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I can Google anything and it'll be like, yeah, you're right. The moon is purple. Ah, there goes
A
moonispurple.com.
glass of wine is better than an hour in the gym. Confirmed.
A what?
Glass of red wine is better than an hour in the gym, according to studies. Right. So, thanks, internet. Drink up.
The internet is. I have an answer for that
But-
version of "if you build it, they will come."
But
I want to
here's
show you guys something.
I just think that there's
you won't.
a couple schools of thoughts on it, and you think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. Still enjoy it, still love it, but does it make logical sense? I don't think so. Especially her going into inversion and healing herself. But go off.
Check it out.
Well, she doesn't heal herself. She's
Check
not
it
a
out.
superhero.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Ryan. We won't have a podcast where we talk about things we don't agree on.
We should be like, okay, Christopher Nolan, great, in the podcast.
Sweet.
Look, it's the first of my collection.
That's dope.
Very good. Very
First
good.
order helmet. It's got
Very good.
It's
Wait,
wearable
it's the
and
first one
everything.
you bought, or
It's first of my collection, so I'm gonna.
You gonna have a helmet room?
you said it was the first?
Not hopefully not a whole room, but it's got a voice mod in there. I don't know if it's gonna come
You gotta
through,
take your
come through or
headphones
not.
off.
Take your headphones off, bro.
I'm not gonna put it on. I'm just gonna talk.
Do
through
it.
Put it on.
we want to see it
Just
now.
do it.
This is great for the audio
God.
podcast, by the way.
That's why I wasn't gonna do it. Jerk
He's
off.
do it.
You're gonna talk through a PA. That's good for audio.
That is
It's
true.
not very loud though. That's the problem.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Maybe you could talk
I don't know.
quieter.
Can you hear the little like after?
No.
No.
Pretty cool, right? Oh well.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Damn.
I've heard that like 5 times.
How did you hear
That
that?
wasn't a comment. That wasn't a comment on his height, Tech. That was a line from the movie.
Oh, okay. I thought
You were like,
you called
"Damn,
him
bro,
shorty."
chill."
You're like, damn, dude.
No.
Well, that sounds like a good place to end the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
We
Yeah,
do
I'm with it.
What are you guys working on? Let's do that.
I don't really do anything too new. I'm kind of on the grind, man. Working on a bunch of shit. Working on a game. Working on my business. Working on some comics. That's it. Follow me on Twitter to watch all that shit. That's about it.
Hell yeah,
We're
hell yeah.
we're about to make a trailer for Void Speed, like a full-on, like list of features with sound effects and music and stuff like that. And then that'll try to catapult us into next year, probably. Actually, get some wish lists and stuff like that. So, yep.
All right.
And I'm training Caleb's goofy ass 3 days a week. We got to do that 23 hours from now.
How's
No,
that?
Ben.
11 hours from now.
Yes.
11 hours from now.
How's that going, Caleb?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still stronger than Ben.
It was not all the way, in some ways, but everyone's stronger than somebody in some way. Hello, everybody. I'm a walking fucking Pinterest board. Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's been both like reassuring and kind of humbling. Like there are things that I didn't think I could do that I'm fine at. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not weak. And then
Yeah.
there are the moments I realize that like it's not weakness, it's lack of stamina. Like I can be strong real quick,
Except
but
for
if I need
one
to do
thing.
it consistently.
One thing, and it's the same thing everybody weeks. Everybody's got just kitten hamstrings. Every single person I train has
shit.
hamstrings made out of tissue paper. So I make people do these slick floor leg curls, where you try to get up off your butt and pull like your feet towards you, but they're on like a towel. You know, so you like slide your legs toward you, their butt off the ground, and everybody's just like, "Do what now?" It's just like body no move. But
luckily, I don't live a life that makes me need to kick my butt with my own foot. Very often.
Not many people need hamstring muscles, so
Yeah.
training them's a bit weird. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's good for your butt, good for your back.
That's awesome.
I'm working on finishing up edits for me and my grandma's podcast. That's working relatively quickly. Not relatively quickly. It's working. It's moving finally. Lots of like events with family moving and shit going on this last month. I also wrote about 2,000 words worth of world building today for the game me and Ben are starting to make. And that felt extremely good. I was finally able to dump the ideas that have been tumbling around in my head out onto paper, which was very nice.
Sorry.
I'm boring tech, obviously.
No. I was just looking at something.
Yeah, I've been doing ads for. If you've, I don't know, nobody that listens to this would see the ads.
It's
Probably.
not their business.
But I've been doing some behind the scenes stuff with the podcast, and I'm enjoying it.
Yes. Yes.
Groovy.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't gonna read stats. By the way. I was just talking about what I'm doing. Not,
200 of you have listened to us this day.
and I've applied at like 4 game studios and the game publication for contract or like permanent jobs in the last week. So cross your fingers about those.
nice.
Or don't. It depends on whether or not you want me to succeed.
I think
That's
everyone
me,
wants
though.
you to win, my friend.
You didn't when I was explaining time travel, but that's
For me. Who said that?
Because it didn't make sense. Sarge, what you got going on?
I half quit my job this week.
Yay!
Yeah.
Quit that shit.
I actually demoted myself from
I've-
management to just a normal team member. I'll be in there in a minute.
Assistant co-manager.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so I demoted myself as a manager down to just a normal team member. That way I can spend more time with family and get my other business going. Ben's about finalized up with the graphics, so I can start that next week, hopefully. Get some business cards made, some flyers made, and get shit posted and get to it. But that's about it. I
Nice.
get just trying to do what I can
Oh,
to be
yeah.
with my family more.
Oh yeah.
Technological supremacy.
Yeah.
What are you up to?
I'm up to not traveling because I'm tired of traveling. It's been a very travel heavy month. So just getting back into the business groove of things, which is going pretty good. I started my own podcast. That's going pretty good. I really like that. I'm actually getting a lot more traction on TikTok now. Kind of figured that one out.
Sweet.
Which sucks. You got to do 3 videos a day to get in their algorithm. Kind of sucks. Which is a lot, I feel like. But thinking about getting back into DJing, so I'm going to look towards getting some new equipment because I was DJing all up into the pandemic, and I kind of haven't since. So I'm getting back into that. Focusing on getting some music done. I got some new music that I've made, and I'm pretty happy about. So I want to start, getting real healthy with the release, but kind of just focusing on all the creative stuff that I do, making sure business is straight, making sure, money's coming in. And that's about it. That and my Funko hunting, which has been going insane.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I actually flipped a Funko last week, which was really exciting.
You did.
Very, very exciting. And
you should call it funk hunting.
Fun hunting. That's not going to get approved by the Instagram when I try to make it.
What?
Funko hunting, fun hunting.
Oh boy, that took me a second.
Well, every time somebody repeats it, makes me happy.
So yeah, just a bunch of creative stuff, nothing major, and I need to become a better organizer of my time.
Yeah,
work because
daily struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I get up so early, and I still between I had a session a day that ran from 9 to noon, a recording session. It completely derailed my work day, and then I got to get my workout in. So
yeah,
time management sucks.
Yep. We need those Mars days, those 36-hour days.
That'd be lit. Do a little nap in between and just get back to it.
I guess freelance, we can do whatever the fuck we want.
We could.
We could make that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, we could.
Right.
I just thought about it. But anyway, anything else, guys?
That's it.
That's
Thanks
it.
everybody for listening. Nerdybits.com for all the information, all our links, all our RSS and subscriptions and all that stuff. Got merch stores at is it We Are Illustrious, right?
Oh, is it? Is that it? No, it's not. Illustrious Merch.
IllustriousMerch.com/nerdybits, something like that.
This is illustriousmerch.com, and then it's on the front page. You can't miss it.
Collection.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send us a link of you wearing something for fuck's sake.
I'm wearing something. Sarge wearing something.
Yeah, but the listeners will give you a shout out.
Yeah.
Tweet us at nerdybits.
Oh yeah.
And let us know what you think. We'll see you all in a couple weeks to talk about something else another time at length.
We love you
in an argumentative fashion.
And this one will make sense. It'll make sense next time.
We might need diagrams, but
all right.
We'll bring a mathematician to explain.
I'm gonna show up with grid paper that I've charged.
Whiteboard.
Dude, let's put a whiteboard behind. The person responsible for the next topic has to have a whiteboard. Anyway.
That's unfair.
Until next time, everyone, thank you for listening. I love you.
Peace.
I love you more.
I don't.